There we go. We are here today to defend the one and only true visual god director, Zachary Edward Snyder. Oh shit, the wax coming down. Fuck. Just trash that. Alright. Where are we at? What's going on here? Get this asshole in the call. Where the fuck are you, HiTop Films? You beefing with me on Twitter? Now it's time to get your ass beating. Where you at? You guys ready for this? You guys ready for this fucking debate? There it is, boys. Where's he at? Welcome everybody to the stream. I'm about to tear some ass up right now. Once this little fanboy gets inside. I mean, come on. Oh. Okay. Okay, he's here finally. Let's see. Hey, you're muted, man.
I see that little shrine you have built in the background. I was too busy laughing at you. That's why I was muted.
Yes, sir.
I tweeted this out. Let's see if we can get some people in the room.
Yeah, let me get this live point going. Okay, no, stop.
I just got the notification that you're live, man.
Yeah, a little late, but all right. All right. Let me just put this in Discord. You have a lot of followers on Twitter or something?
Me?
Yeah.
I have like 300.
Damn. It doesn't show the chat in the Google Hangouts.
No, you gotta have to open up a separate tab for that to see what people are saying. People are live right now. Yeah. Hello, people that are watching.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Are people watching right now?
Yeah, it says on my Google, it says that there's 7 viewers. 7 viewers.
Cool, cool. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're ready to learn why Man of Steel is a bad film.
Yeah, garbage. Garbage. Mr. Bradley Hunter. Hey guys. Hey Alex, big fan, says Frez Black. He's rooting for me. Before that, he said, "Go Joey, go." Be clear about that.
You're gonna have to read these comments to me. I'm not gonna be able to see if I'm doing well or not.
I'm actually gonna try and link you this pop-out chat.
Okay, cool.
Does that work? I am ready. Timothy Corson.
Did you?
What's up?
I'm checking the pop-out chat. Hopefully, it just doesn't overload my computer and crash, because then you win.
I mean, it's inevitable, but
okay, cool. I can see it. I can check back. I can keep checking back, but you'll have to inform me if there's anything fun.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. How do you have this jumping from cam to cam? This is actually Google Hangouts, so whoever starts talking, it'll jump back and forth, you know? So, yeah. All right,
cool.
Well, what's up?
You called me. You awoken me from my slumber.
Yeah.
To talk about Man of Steel, something that's a sensitive, touchy subject for me.
Yeah, because you were sleeping on the Zachary. You were sleeping on him. I had to wake you up.
I don't think I was sleeping, man. I like Watchmen. I like the Watchmen movie. I was excited for Man of Steel. 12-year-old Alex was excited for Man of Steel. And 12-year-old Alex, I'll open this debate by getting the truth out there. 12-year-old Alex, when he first saw it, thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. But then I turned 13 and realized it was terrible.
That was your coming to age, was just 1 year later, and you're like, okay, terrible. That was your reasoning.
Yeah, no, because I watched it. I think I saw it twice or 3 times in the theater. I saw it with my friend Josh early.
Okay.
and we were both like, "Oh, it looks so pretty. We're 12. It's all important."
Yeah.
And then I watched
Keep
it again.
Keep that in your mind. What you just said. It looks so pretty. Keep that in your mind. We're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, no. We can talk about cinematography because it does look pretty. I'm not denying the fact it looks good, but on every other level, it's a fucking failure as a reinvention of Superman. It's a bad movie, and it took me until I think my third rewatch to realize that there's nothing there. There's nothing to that movie.
That's. I don't think we're watching the same movie here. I really don't. I think that you're shielded with this. It has to be this type of movie, or else it's not a good Superman movie or a good movie at all.
No, okay. How do you want to start this? Let's organize this because I could just go on a tangent for 3 hours. That is this is your channel. Let's do it your way.
Okay, I think that we should, you give your little opening segment, right? Just hit your main point and then follow with, maybe a couple examples or whatever.
Okay.
And then I'll follow it up with mine, and then we'll go to your main tangent and go.
Okay, cool. So you want me to open?
Open it up.
Okay. I brought a little presentation today.
Oh, presentation.
This is all I need. Can you guys see this? All-Star Superman. One might even say a modern reinvention of classic Superman done correctly. And that's going to be one of my opening points, is that if we view this film as what it is, which is a reinvention of the Superman character, it fails on every level, critically, financially, story-wise. Like 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think. I didn't do my research before I showed up because I don't need to, but I think it's 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that the tomato meter is the end-all be-all, but there's a reason why I think Ant-Man made more money than Man of Steel. I'm not sure if it was Ant-Man or Thor, definitely Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok made more money than Justice League. And there's one reason, because people care more about Thor than they do about this Superman. And the first movie to contain this Superman was Man of Steel. And it failed as a reinvention. It failed to grab audiences. And it only got worse after that. But if we're just talking about Man of Steel, it failed on almost every single level of getting people invested in Superman again.
Okay. That was your thing?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about filmmaking wise, that's just on my personal nerdy bias. Filmmaking wise, the second act and third act are all one giant action sequence, which right there. And I think some guy called Armored Penguin did a movie maintenance on how to make Man of Steel better, which right there, I think you're almost admitting that it's a flawed film.
It definitely is a flawed film. But just because there's flaws in a movie doesn't make a movie bad. Right?
But I think that if you have to cut 20 minutes of the opening scene on Krypton, then maybe
it doesn't inherently make
those
the whole
20
movie
minutes.
Bad. It doesn't make the whole movie inherently bad just because I rewrote the first 20 minutes or changed the death scene, or you changed another death scene.
Well, I pretty much rewrote the whole third act in your video, because in that movie, my question for you is where do you think the third act starts in that movie?
I haven't watched it recently.
Exactly.
What do you mean exactly? I watched it right before I got like all my notes for the movie maintenance, but I can't tell you the specifics of when it starts, like that next boom. I'm going off the top. I'm gonna have to say when they're in that field, or no. So when Superman gets taken up to Zod's plane, and then he has that little psyche thing, and then shit starts happening.
Okay,
but that's just off the dome.
Yeah. That's. And then what is after that scene you talk about, that dream sequence? What is the rest of the movie?
Superman trying to save the world from being destroyed by the world,
or rather, Superman destroying millions of property, millions of dollars worth of property, and thousands of innocent lives.
Let me go ahead and get there. Okay. You write screenplays, right?
Yeah, I've written a few.
What was your first screenplay that you wrote?
The first one that I finished, I have one completed one, Tom, and I wrote that in 11th grade.
Okay. Do you think it's actually a really good screenplay?
I haven't. No, I don't think it's. I think it's the first thing I've wrote. I think there's good elements, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's the best thing I've written. No.
Exactly. This is like just like you writing your first screenplay. This is Henry Cavill or Superman. This is our first time seeing him become this icon. So he's gonna fuck up and make mistakes and not be this perfect being that he is, and that's completely okay.
He cannot be a perfect being, but I think that the direction and the way the camera shows all that death and destruction, it's unnecessary to get the point across that he's an amateur. Because you go to Smallville, and I have no big qualms with the Smallville fight scene, with when he fights like Fiora and the big guy,
Okay.
right? I have no qualms because he still actively tries. He moves military guys out of the way. He tries to move the fight. He tells everyone to get indoors. They slam into IHOP. Like Pete Ross, which we can get to the butchering of every Superman side character that happens in that movie. We have Pete Ross in IHOP, and things are destroyed, but not there's no thousands of people dying like there is in the Metropolis scene. There's just collateral damage because he's not a pro fighter, because these people are trained Kryptonian warriors and this guy's a farmer from Kansas. And I see your perspective and I get that.
Yeah.
But Zach goes way to your boy, the man right there. I feel like he's staring into my soul. The boy, he goes way too far in getting his point across. He overdoes it, which is a staple of his career, is overdoing it.
How is that being overdone? Because people die?
No, not because just people die. I'm even saying that fine. You want to destroy the Daily Planet? Go for it. Okay, you want Superman to have like consequences to not being like a pro Superman yet? Perfectly fine. Kill some people. I'm talking about the fact that we get shot after shot of buildings falling on top of people, of Superman Zod crashing into shit. There's a shot where Superman.
Think about it. Actually, think about it. If two people, two fucking gods, two Supermen were actually fighting,
But Superman
especially in a city, yeah, but he's also new, right? That's like saying, oh, why is this kid not kicking his karate instructor's ass on his first fucking lesson?
No, Zod can win the fight. Zod can cause Superman damage. I don't even mind. Like, I think it's a little, gratuitous, but I don't mind the fact that Zod throws Superman into buildings. I mind the fact that Superman jumps out of the way of a truck and then lands and lets the truck explode behind him and destroy all the building because Zack Snyder thinks that fire behind Superman looks cool. And yeah, it does look cool.
It does look cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't look cool, but I'm saying I'm not thinking about that. I, as a Superman fan, and I, as just a movie watcher, am thinking about, oh, what if there were people in that parking lot that he just jumped out of the way of the truck so it could explode? He could have easily, it's a split-second direction to where he could have caught the truck, because Superman's also supposed to be super fucking smart. And this guy, Henry Cavill Superman, is not the smartest guy.
He's lost. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't know his purpose. He's trying to find it. And that's what this movie does. It's him lost, jumping from job to job and alias to alias. And he's just kind of pulling the scraps together from his also flawed father, who, people always criticize, oh, why did Pa Kent tell him to let the kids die in the bus? When they're having that discussion on that little truck in the field, and he's like, what was I supposed to do? Let him die?
Let him die. Maybe,
and
yeah.
He said maybe, yeah. Because, and that was a very important point, he does not know. He wasn't a parent before this, and he's definitely hasn't been a parent to a fucking Superman. So he does not know. He's surrendering his, parenting, responsibility of telling your kid right and wrong. He doesn't know. So if even Superman's parent does not know, because there's no rules anywhere on how to act, then how would he know? He's trying to find himself. It's okay if he gets to that point. In the first movie, if he fucks up and lets a bunch of people die, like the truck scene hitting that parking garage behind him. That's totally okay.
Well, then I think if we're banking on the Zach philosophy that this is the first movie in an arc for Superman.
Wait,
correct? What? If we're talking about how Zack Snyder said that this was the first movie in a long arc that he had planned for Superman,
Yeah, if that was the case, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think that the potential
That's what Zach has said before.
that this was like supposed to be a long arc of.
So what movie came after this? I'm just curious. I forget. Can you refresh my memory? What was the sequel to Man of Steel?
It was Batman vs Superman because of the reasoning. I'm pretty sure you watched that interview or the interview where he's saying he went to the studio saying, "I want to do a Batman vs Superman movie, right, as the sequel," which is that could work as a sequel, right? But they said no until he was like, "Okay," because they're trying to build the universe. He's like, "Okay, I'll make it Dawn of Justice." That's studio interference. That's studio
That studio
interference.
interference. That's the
That
angle.
is. That
I'm
is
saying
absolute
even the Superman
interference.
scenes in like even if this okay. First of all, I'm gonna say this that I will agree that the Man of Steel ending's phenomenal. I said that in your video. I said the very ending at the Daily Planet where he smiles, welcome to the planet, and
Perfection.
he starts acting like Superman for the first time in the whole movie. He acts like the
Yes.
Superman I know and love because if we're going off the logic that he had to kill Zod to become the Superman we know and love,
I'm not condoning that decision, but
well then where the fuck is Superman in Batman v Superman? If that was the beginning of his
why
arc,
don't you ask DC and the studio interference on that?
the studio interference, but you can watch the Snyder cut of BVS. That's real. The Snyder cut's real of BVS, and
No,
it's
but the
still
Snyder cut because he had the script wasn't even written yet. So
we can.
you're saying the Snyder cut, like he made this movie, and then they're like, no, make another movie. No, he was, I want to do this, Batman versus Superman, right? Which in my Batman versus Superman movie maintenance, we talk about just making it a solo movie, making it better and more focused on Superman than also Bruce Wayne Batman, right?
Yeah,
That absolutely is studio interference saying, oh no, cram some more shit in there with
but
some
that
Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash,
I
and
still think that cramming that shit. I think the characterization of a mopey Superman who says, "I think no one stays good in this world, Lois," and then he also says stuff like, what's his big one? If I want it, he says stuff like, "Oh, Batman, if I wanted it, you'd be dead already," and then he says stuff like, "Consider this mercy," and then Zach shows Superman in an alternate reality because he saw Mad Max in Batman v Superman murdering people and
you've
like
seen you read the Injustice comics, right?
yeah, of course I read the
So
Injustice
what
comics.
are you complaining about?
I'm complaining because that's okay. You can deconstruct Superman, but Man of Steel does not do a good job of constructing Superman because if it did, then people would respond much more to the Superman and Batman v Superman
I
if
think
any of Man of Steel worked.
I think because of okay, let's talk about the response of it, right? Because at first it was a very mixed bag, and now it just gets shit on relentlessly, which is completely unearned in my book. But I think the reason why people did not connect with that movie is because they went in with a over obsessed fanboy view on what this movie has to be. Fuck anyone else's artistic vision and maybe changing a character, right? Like we talked about before. Like, screw the possibility of that. I need this and exactly this. Marvel's doing this, so I want what Marvel's doing just with DC characters. No, that's never going to be.
Yeah. I'm all for artistic integrity. If he wanted to make a movie about a guy trying to find himself that's an alien, then he should have made a movie about a guy trying to find himself that's also an alien. But instead he took the arguably the most important superhero and made him into someone that no one can identify with and that no one can. I'm not saying no one because you clearly do, but I
Yeah.
meant the majority of audience members and the majority of critics and the majority of fans are alienated by this portrayal of Superman.
All right, let's hold that point. Let's go ahead and engage with chat a little bit. I see them sounding off like, hey, we exist over here. All right, let me see. Financial failure, 668 million office with the budget almost paid for with production placement. Not a failure money-wise, says Tommy Berta. Superman saves the world by killing tens of thousands of civilians. Well, sometimes doesn't the government do that? Well, go ahead and read.
I am reading some of these. Hello, everyone. I'm reading your comments now. Man of Steel is the best DCU movie. No, that's Wonder Woman, I think.
No, it's not.
I think it's Wonder Woman.
Cheese.
And I don't even love Wonder Woman. I've made that abundantly clear. I don't love Wonder Woman, but it's the best one so far.
No fucking way.
Wonder Woman, at least she's a hero. At least like I like her.
Yeah, and she's not relatable at all.
Okay.
He's not live. He's not replied to us because we're getting in the heat of it. You know,
Yeah, we're
just
getting in the heat of it.
tunnel
We see you guys. We see you guys. All right. Whoever comments next, what topic do you want to see us cover? We'll hone it in.
Just go ahead and list them.
And we'll stay here. I'll take a sip of this Gatorade because I just gotta wipe the burn off.
Why is Wonder Woman not relatable? Well, I kind of wanted to keep it on the subject of Man of Steel, but she's not relatable because, well, for me, at least.
You're a white man, though.
She's a white woman. But what is the skin color and the what's between my legs decipher what I relate to? I don't know. I think it was just cheeseball. Everything was predictable, and it just. I don't know. I went to go see it with my mom because my mom is a Wonder Woman fan. She loved it.
And I went to go see Man of Steel with my dad, who's been reading Superman for years and years and years. And he was literally shaking with anger. And he was appalled by what they did to Superman in the third act.
Kind of want to touch back on that later. Every single planned DCE movie, I don't even know what they had planned because they changed it up so much. The biggest problem with the DCEU is
Superman's the biggest problem with the DCEU. And it starts with Man of Steel.
False.
Dude, I'm serious. I'm serious. That's my opinion. You want a hot take? I liked Mustache Man in Justice League more than I liked him in Man of Steel and BVS because at least they tried.
I don't even know if that was trying, but I think the biggest problem with the DCEU is it's trying to be like Marvel. They had two great opportunities with opening up the universe. We had Man of Steel. Okay, fine start, right? Then we had Batman versus Superman, hero versus hero, and that'll eventually crack open the rest of the heroes. Then we had Suicide Squad, which was a fucking shit show. That would be opening up like the villain universe.
We can agree on that.
Yeah, I can't.
We can agree on Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Justice League was trash. It absolutely was.
It tried though.
Warner Brothers has a problem with DCEU. Warner Brothers makes some fantastic movies. Snyder was the biggest DCU problem. No, I think
yes.
No, I think Bradley Hunter. I think that your presupposition of what you wanted ruined your expectation ruined what happened. But that's my opinion. How do you not make Superman boring without him being conflicted and not perfect? Yeah,
exactly. He can be conflicted. He can be not perfect. There's plenty of stories off the top of my head where he's conflicted and not perfect. All-Star Superman, Superman for Tomorrow, Superman for All Seasons, man. All these books, years and years of comic books. And Zach chose to make this Superman cold, completely cold. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then even worse than Batman v Superman. But if we're just talking about Man of Steel, he does have moments of being charming. Man of Steel could have been like if they would have completely gone back to the drawing board after it and used what worked about Man of Steel instead of trying to fix what didn't work, then we'd be okay.
I can agree with that. And I think that they did touch on some of the issues that Man of Steel had, which was the destruction.
But then they turned it. Okay, we don't need to talk about BVS because I can't even go there. I'll just die on the inside. Zach's biggest issue. Here's my hot take. Here's my big opinion. Okay, you cannot deconstruct something without constructing it, and Man of Steel is a deconstruction of Superman on every level. What he stands for, what he means. It's a deconstruction of Superman. But the general movie-going audience, not fans. I'm saying, like, of course, as a fan, I think you're going to be disappointed with that Superman movie. As me who has read Superman comics his whole life, I was disappointed. And like even every time I watch it now, I'm even more disappointed because the more I read Superman comics. But even not being a fan, even just the only exposure people had before Man of Steel to Superman, okay, was the Reeve movies. If you're not a comic book fan, the general audience, the Christopher Reeve movies, Smallville, if you watch Smallville, and Superman Returns. And in all three of those movies, Superman doesn't kill people, is a hopeful guy, and is all about it's all about pretty colors. Have it like the Richard Donner Superman's all about pretty colors, having a good time, and just hopeful and doing the right thing.
Okay.
And this took everything that Batman Begins did well and misunderstood why Batman Begins worked, because Batman Begins doesn't have a dark, serious tone. The grounded tone does not mean dark and serious. Watch Batman Begins again. It treats its characters as if they're real people. But there's so much goofy shit in all three of the Nolan movies. There's so much joyous. Like even the first Batman Begins doesn't come in black. Like the line like that when he's driving the Batmobile.
But that doesn't change the fact that they're going after drug dealers and dealing with like murderers and.
Of course, it doesn't change that fact. But they treated the characters realistically. But I'm saying is in Man of Steel, instead of treating the characters realistically, which in my opinion they don't do at all, because being a guy who was nerdy in middle school and not fitting in, and I'm supposed to relate to that alien version of Clark. But even I had friends. Even I had like one singular friend. Zack Snyder goes out of his way to make Pete Ross bully Clark Kent, call him Dick Splash. Just take
I fucking love that, because then immediately after they splash into the water.
Splash in the water, yeah. I'm saying that it takes everything that Superman represents, because Superman does not work if he did not have loving, supporting parents and people like Pete Ross in his life. And this Superman, as far as we know, this Superman never had a single friend, and his one connection to Earth is Lois Lane. As said in Batman v Superman, you are my world. Like, you're the reason I give a shit about this place. Yep. Okay? Yep. But then if we go off that, you know who the weakest character in Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League is? Lois fucking Lane.
Yeah.
Because true. Yeah, and okay, if we're just talking on a pure film level, Lois Lane is a completely uninteresting character. She's a shoehorn love interest, and her sole purpose for being there is to just have a female in the movie and just have a love interest for Clark Kent, because you have to have Lois Lane in a movie.
I don't think the reason was just because let's get some females in here. I think it was because it was like, it's fucking Lois Lane.
But it's not even fucking Lois Lane.
But you're also saying it's not Superman. So one of my main points that I want to bring up is the one you just talked about in your Batman video, right? So what was the guy that changed Batman? Not Bob Kane, but the second guy that like
the real creator of Batman, Bill Finger. Yeah.
Yes. He changed an icon already. He
invented the icon.
No, but it was already an icon beforehand.
No, Bill Finger was the one who really created Batman. Bob Kane stole the idea.
What? Stole the idea? I thought he took the reins after.
No, there's a documentary about it, Batman and Bill. It's on Hulu. I recommend everyone in the comment section watch it.
So what did Bob fucking do then?
Oh, Bob Kane, he said, I want to make money because Superman's making money. So let's have this like pulpish noir hero. Right? And his character, I have it in my video. His character was like this guy in a red tights on a rope.
Yeah.
With bat wings. No cowl, a domino mask. Bill Finger said, this guy's parents were murdered. This guy has the cowl. This guy looks like this. He does this. He created the Joker. He created Gotham City.
How is that stealing? That's just a different, more expanded on idea.
No, because Bill Finger took credit for everything. Like the Joker. I mean, Bob Kane took credit for everything. The Joker, like Gotham, the Batcave. It all says created by Bob Kane.
I think that when it says created by Bob Kane, it's just the initial character, Batman.
But not Bruce Wayne. Just the thought of having. It's the same. It's just that. That's a debate for a different time, because it's like,
my main point is that like Bill Finger changed it. He made it different. He took something that people already established, which was this fucking nerdy ass character, right? You have the Adam West fucking dancing and shit. And then now all of a sudden we have our dark shit. which
Yeah.
and like the comics that are they get fucking dark, and that's what Batman is. So like changing an icon isn't always bad. It's just because this was a risk. Man of Steel was a risk. It didn't necessarily pan out in the best way for audiences, but you know,
Yeah, it was a risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
So there's that thing of like, oh, completely changing this character is one, we haven't even gotten a full fleshed out whole thing on Superman, even still with these new movies, but that's a different topic. And also, it's a new vision. Like, I don't want to see the other Christopher Reeves movies.
and neither do I.
Yeah, exactly. And
But
that's okay.
Yeah, and it's fine to do something different with the character, but if you change what the character is about, if you change his fundamental values and what he believes in, it's like making Batman kill.
Have you always had your fundamental values? Have you always had that? Or did you kind of learn them as you went on and learned life lessons and you fucked up and made mistakes?
I think I've always had a concept of myself. Of course you make mistakes. And it's okay for Clark to make mistakes. He doesn't need to be perfect.
Do you have any like life rules or anything that you learned and that you added on as you went through your life?
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay, so why is it not the case with Superman? When it comes to Superman, everyone expects him to be perfect from the get-go, and that's really frustrating.
He doesn't need to be
him down, and then let's build him up. And that's the most important part, showing that everyone, I mean, especially he's a superhero, but someone could be so down in the fucking dirt, could still become this icon and still become this hopeful fucking god.
But he never becomes this hopeful fucking guy.
But we're talking about Man of Steel, though.
Okay, if we're just talking about Man of Steel.
Right. I can't
stumble.
vouch for the other ones. Yeah.
He can stumble and he can fall and he can fuck up for sure.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
That's what he does in Man of Steel.
And I'm not arguing that that's what the issue is. The issue is how he fumbles and how he stumbles and how he falls is a horrible direction to go. First of all, you have David Goyer writing this movie, okay?
Okay.
And David Goyer
with the Dark Knight trilogy, but
okay, Dark Knight trilogy. He wrote the original script for Batman Begins, and I want you to go back and listen to the dialogue in Batman Begins before Nolan rewrote it. Read the dialogue.
It was a rough draft, all right? Rough drafts can be shit. Okay.
Well, David Goyer is not my favorite screenwriter for sure, but that's besides the point on that. Nothing works as a film. Let's move to more about a film.
Okay.
There's 20 minutes on Krypton, and if this is a reinvention of Superman, okay, and you need to show that whole codex shit, first off, what the fuck is the point of that plot?
Mistake. Absolutely. Mistake.
Yeah, big mistake in that movie is having 20 minutes on Krypton, okay? And then I like the concept of Clark Kent going around and trying to find himself doing different jobs. That's fine.
Fantastic, yeah.
But then something happens where he destroys this man's truck.
Yep.
And right there, I'm uninvested. I'm like, I don't like this guy because he uses those powers. And the guy's a fucking piece of shit who he breaks the truck, of course. But he uses his powers for selfish reasons.
And that's okay because other characters do that all the fucking time.
But he never learns a lesson. He never goes through any kind of an arc. There supposedly is an arc where he learns to choose humanity over Zod. That's why he kills Zod and fucks up Zod's scheme with the Codex. But we never see him have any kind of human connection. Kids bully him. His dad is like, oh, you know what? It may be okay if you don't save people. I don't know what to do. I'm new at this. And that's fine too. But he has nothing human about him. There's no connection he has other than Lois Lane. And
he's finding it. Throughout the film, he is finding it. And that's okay because you don't always belong. He's a fucking alien. How is he going to relate to someone else that he could snap in half with his
I don't know. I mean, Superman and every other piece of Superman media always found
it doesn't have to be every other thing. And that's completely okay.
But I don't think But I think then if Zack Snyder wanted to make a movie about an alien, he could have made a movie about an alien. He didn't need to make a Superman movie.
I think he took the biggest superhero ever, right? The first one, and he made it very realistic.
I don't even think it's realistic though, because even if you are outcasted and even if you're an alien, people are not that, like, people don't behave that way.
Like bully people?
No, of course people bully people. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that that's all we see on purpose is Clark suffering. for the first 2 acts of this movie. Everyone hates him. Everyone bullies him. The government doesn't trust him. The only good thing in his life is Lois Lane and his mom. That's unrealistic.
Okay. No, it's not.
That's completely unrealistic.
No fucking way. You hear all these other stories of like people becoming icons, and they didn't have anyone in their fucking child, teenage, and 20s. Like people, like that happens. I think you're looking at it from an anecdotal perspective of like, okay, this didn't really happen to me, so therefore it did not happen, or anyone around me, so therefore it cannot happen in real life.
No, I think that it's just unrealistic that a man who, just anybody, period, okay, goes through their whole life with that much negativity when he's 33 years old. We never see anything positive, ever.
That can be some people's lives, dude.
Till you're 33 years old, nothing positive has
Sometimes
ever happened.
Fucking grave. I mean, we could live in a world of racism, sexism, and religiosism, whatever the fuck it's called.
But I'm saying, but Superman's not about that negative. The concept of a hero, the concept of anyone is turning negative.
At what point did he quit? He didn't quit. He kept going. He was finding himself.
Yeah, but I'm not saying.
And through him still trying to do something and find something, there is inherently hope within him. Because he has all these people to shit on him. He has all these people being fucking assholes, right? He's not connecting with people, but he still has it inside him. He's not saying, oh, I'm hopeful. He's not fucking shouting exposition like in other portions of the script. But why, he still has it.
But why does he care so much about people if everyone has treated him negatively his whole life? What is his reason for saving people?
Well, he establishes later in the film that his moral compass, Zod's idea of destroying a race for his previous race.
That's Zod's idea, yeah.
Yeah, and he
what's Clark Kent's right. What's Clark Kent's motivation? Why does he give a fuck about anybody?
I don't understand what you're trying to go for. Like you're saying we need a specific scene saying why does he care about the world? Do you think if he didn't care about the world, he could easily leave?
Yeah, but why doesn't you need, if you're making a film, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, you make movies.
Absolutely.
Your characters need to have some kind of like explanation for their goals, for their motivations. They need a why factor.
Right, and I don't need it shouted in exposition.
You don't need it shouted in exposition, but I'm saying that Man of Steel makes no attempt to show, okay, let me think about this. I haven't watched the movie in a while either. I think Pete Ross helps him when this guy's bullying him. Pete Ross helps him get up. And that's the one positive thing that happens to him during his childhood.
Yeah, showing that people can change, right? Starts out as a bully, ends up helping him.
But my thing, hold on, let me get comfortable. Yeah. But my thing is why does Clark Kent, why does he put on this suit and all of a sudden be like, I'm fucking Superman. I'm going to stop Zod because I care about so much about this earth. Like, I'm going to snap this guy's neck because he's about to murder these innocent people. But where does he get that moral compass from?
Well, he gets it from his father, right?
But his father, father never has. We don't even get a chance to know Jonathan Kent because the 3 scenes he has are, here, Clark, you're special. You're going to turn into whatever man you're kind of going to be, and then you'll change the world. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have his dad dying.
Say change the world for good or bad, though. He leaves it open-ended because of the possibilities. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have his dad die in a tornado, which you had issues with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you have and then I think what else? And then at the end, he's like, "Oh, your dad always knew." And then he watches him do the fucking Superman thing.
The bus scene where the parent comes over and is like, "Oh, Clark did something crazy, and it's not just my kid being crazy."
Maybe you were supposed to let him die. That's like that's what he got from his father.
Yeah.
But who taught him to save people? Who taught him that that's what he should be doing?
I don't think it needs to be inherently taught. If you will grow up around people, you would still vouch for them, even if.
But he only grew up around shitheads, right? That's like what that was implied.
It was shown, yeah, but his parents weren't shitheads. His mom,
his dad was
part of this. He's a part of this flawed humanity.
But his dad was always the one who was like, Clark, maybe you should hide yourself. Don't be who you are.
Maybe, because he
Yeah, he
does
says
not have
maybe,
the
but
answers.
exactly. So he has no absolute inherent values as a person. That Clark Kent is not fleshed out enough. We have absolutely
If you
no
never
idea.
had any parents, I don't think that you would need someone to tell you, "Hey, don't kill, don't kill." That's already wired in our brains to not kill our own kind.
Of course, you're not supposed to kill your own kind. I'm arguing the fact that, like, why does he decide at the end of this movie that he's going to dress up in a cape and wear a red S that means hope and be
Remember when
this
he
beacon
talks
of
to
hope?
Remember when he talks to Jor-El and talks about the people? You clipped it in your video
But
saying
what's
that there's the, I don't know the exact quote, but the people can become great.
Yeah, but why? But that's not Clark's values. Those are his dad's values that he's telling him. Clark doesn't say anything in those scenes.
And
David Goyer.
that's okay because he's taking it in. He doesn't need to say, he's learning, he's absorbing, and that's okay. Just like a child, they absorb like a fucking sponge.
But this man's 33 years old, and he has absolutely no. And Henry
no one
Cavill's
else is like
performance
him
does.
in the world, so he is completely lost.
But
The
he
man
has
that
no.
he looks up to doesn't know the answers.
The movie would be miles better if there were 5 more scenes, little tiny scenes of just him talking to people,
Right.
talking about himself.
In my fix, but that still doesn't make him a bad character in the movie.
I think he's a horrible protagonist, not just because he's a bad rendition of Superman. Just as a protagonist, I watched that movie, and movies are subjective, and in my opinion, okay, there's not a single fucking thing to that Clark Kent that I can empathize with, relate with. I can understand not feeling like you fit in because that's what the movie's going for. But I have no reason to root for this guy because he's not an underdog. He's not an underdog. He's an underdog when it comes to when it comes to Zod. He's an underdog. But Superman inherently, he is stronger. He has
the whole world against him.
But why does he
not the underdog?
But why? My thing is, why do I care that he has the whole world against him? What makes this man a likable protagonist?
Through his actions, through what I already talked about, is that through all of this shit that he goes through, he still keeps trucking along.
He still keeps trucking along.
Yeah.
But how does he feel about this? How does Clark feel about any of this?
He doesn't know how to feel.
So he just has no lines of dialogue. That's what's up.
I think your idea for him is you wanted him to speak more, which is it's fair, but I don't think that's a reason for this being a bad movie.
He doesn't even need to speak more. I think that, like, what's a good example? I think let's do some comparisons here. I think if we compare it to Batman Begins, written by David S. Goyer, has the exact same plot structures of Man of Steel as you look at it. A mentor figure / Zod, Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul wants to wipe out Gotham. Zod wants to wipe out the Earth because they're both fucked up and corrupt, okay? Mm-hmm. And then Bruce Wayne's like, no. And Clark Kent's like, no, okay?
There's a couple of things wrong there, but yeah.
But the basic villain motivation is the same as Batman Begins. It's written by the same guy.
Yeah, but the motivation is not the same. Ra's al Ghul is motivated by destroying corruptness, and Zod's is I need my people to live. That's completely different.
But their goal is to wipe out Earth or take away Gotham.
Right, but you specifically said their motivations. Their motivations are worlds apart.
Okay, I misspoke. What I meant to say, is they have the same. They're trying to take away the same thing from the hero, their city and their place.
Correct.
The difference is, we know Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins. Like, even if it's not comic book Bruce Wayne, we know him through dialogue, through his interactions with Rachel, Alfred. There are side characters. There are plenty of interactions.
It's a better film. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's a much better.
He's not an alien.
Of course, he's not an alien.
He feels different. He's rich. He's also my favorite character, but he's still not on the level of exclusion because he was raised in a fucking huge city, right? One of the biggest cities in the theoretical world, Gotham City. Clark was raised in a very small town.
But Clark had parents, though.
Yeah, but his parents were confused and lost.
Yeah, but I think you're hung up on this confused and lost thing, and I feel like that's a good. Your argument makes sense on that he is confused and lost, and that does explain issues a lot of people have with the movie. The fact that he's not perfect Superman. But my my big thing is that there's nothing to, as a human being watching this movie, there is pretty much nothing to grasp or find likable about this Clark Kent. And what makes it worse is the fact that it's a superhero movie and it's a Superman movie. Because you can have a protagonist that's not inherently likable. Like Tony Stark in the first Iron Man is a likable asshole, okay?
Yeah.
Peter Parker in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man is a freaking dork. Okay? But this Superman is an angsty, like angry, has a chip on his shoulder.
It makes sense for him to be angry.
Of course it makes sense for him to be angry, but I'm saying is if you can't get your audience to like the protagonist, you failed as a film to find something to like.
They didn't like it because of, I think if people went into this, okay, let's say that Superman never existed.
Oh, it's still a horrible movie in my opinion. If Superman never existed.
Goodness gracious, no. Anyway, if Superman never existed and people didn't go in with this assumption and already like this is what this movie needs to be. If they have that, I think that this obsession with everything has to be true to the comics, you know, then I think that people would have enjoyed this film way more. I think that people's expectations versus the reality is what really fucked it up.
But that's okay. Just getting away from the character of Superman. Let's read some comments first.
Okay.
Dude, oh shit, there's a lot. Natalie says, "Hey guys, hey Natalie, if you're still
Natalie? Damn, what?
Someone says the man who's winning the debate, in my opinion, is the same guy who literally took a shit on a Spider-Man action figure.
Hey, I took a shit on this, so I mean, take shits on stuff.
Is WB hiring a writer for Man of Steel 2? Hire me.
How many movies does Zach need to create a new Superman? 3, 4, maybe a trilogy to become this icon? Absolutely.
That's ridiculous. I think that's so ridiculous that you need 3 full movies to make a character become a character.
He still is a character, but to become this expectation to what you're holding him to, yes. That's a high expectation.
But I don't know, because I think in other superhero movies, I think Peter Parker is Spider-Man by the end of the second act in Spider-Man. I think
Spider-Man is a completely different character, though.
I think that
and it's also not realistic in like any.
I think the Amazing Spider-Man, which people don't like, which tried to be a grounded reinvention of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There's this wonderful scene that's that's missing from Man of Steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Second act, he fights the Lizard on a bridge. Okay. He's selfishly just trying that whole movie to be like to catch his uncle's killer. That's what he's doing. He's acting out of like selfishness, like revenge. Okay. Lizard's attacking the bridge. He stops the lizard, saves the boy. He sees a boy have a moment with his dad. Okay. And the guy's like, "Oh, who are you?" And in that moment, Peter Parker and Garfield, I don't know how the fuck Garfield does this, but Andrew Garfield, through the mask, emotes more acting than Henry Cavill does in 3 fucking movies. Garfield through this mask says, "I'm Spider-Man," okay?
Yeah.
Because that is when he becomes fucking Spider-Man. He saves this kid, realizes what being Spider-Man's about, goes home. There's this little shot where he looks at a mask. Takes place 2/3 of the way through the movie. That's a fine. Did in 1 movie. Batman Begins. He becomes Batman.
Yeah, because Superman is much bigger scale than Spider-Man is.
I don't
much
know
bigger scale.
It's a much bigger scale of becoming like this Jesus Messiah figure.
Exactly, and that religious comparison is fucking incredible.
Yeah, that religious comparison where here, let me reenact the shot for you from Man of Steel.
Do it.
Okay. He's in a church. Okay. Jesus is right here. And you want to talk about how that movie has any kind of subtlety to it? And then he's like, Father, I don't know if I should trust God, or I don't know if people can be trusted.
The mural? I'm pretty sure the camera angle doesn't have the mural in the back, but I may be wrong.
Dude, it has a giant picture of Jesus. I just watched a video before we did this that was just every like Jesus symbolism in those movies.
So, but why is that a bad thing? It's not. It's taking our character and putting it in the modern world, which is a highly religious world.
Of course, it's a highly religious world where I don't even know about that, but I think
no, it is dominantly religious.
Oh yeah, of course we are as people, but I'm saying that like of course Superman's always has Jesus and Moses imagery. That's like part of his conception. But Also, besides that imagery, he has a character.
Yeah.
And I do not think Clark Kent has a shred of character. He has problems.
He has problems. He also shows it through emotion and reactions, which is completely okay in a script in a movie.
To have,
It's
but
visual.
he
He doesn't
doesn't.
need to say the audio and be like, okay, this is how I feel. Yeah, I think that would help, and that would really babysit the audience and be like, okay, this is like what he's going through. But I think his emotions and his acting, which you claim to be bad, they sell it for me. Like I don't need dialogue to make me relate. I could relate through his actions and feeling down and still persisting.
But I'm saying that you can't expect an audience to any audience. Okay, that's always show don't tell. And Man of Steel, all of Zach movies do a lot of showing. Okay,
Yeah.
And he's a very much a show don't tell kind of director.
Yep.
And that's fine if that's his style.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're making a big budget superhero movie with Superman, you need to do some telling. There needs to be some telling about this guy.
I disagree with that. You don't have. There is some telling.
I don't think there's a shred of telling. I think people tell Clark things. I think Jor-El's like, "Oh, you're Jesus," and his dad's like, "You can be whoever you want to be," and Zod's like, "You're a bitch." But
okay.
But I don't know, what does Clark feel about himself? How does Clark feel? What is he feeling? Like why does he feel so alone? Because people have outcasted him, right?
Yeah, and
but why does he love Lois Lane? What is that relationship? Why, like, if that's his first
Well, no, I think the relationship between them it's rushed and bullshit, like you mentioned in the video.
It may be the most
completely fair.
Completely fair. At least we can agree on that. I think it may be one of the worst romances.
Character of him, of like why he feels like it's all there. Everything that you need to feel about this character is all there.
But I shouldn't have to dig through with a shovel.
You're not digging through. If you pay attention and you watch mannerisms and human emotion, like I don't understand how nobody can sympathize with this character.
But Henry Cavill is a block of wood sometimes, and I really can't read that man. I think his best performance is in Man of Steel. I honestly do.
Gosh.
I'm saying I don't see. I don't know why he loves Lois Lane. I don't know why he loves Earth. I have no idea why he wants to stop Zod. I have no idea why at the end of the movie he becomes a reporter, because I don't know how the fuck he becomes a reporter without going to school. Did he go to college? Did he even go to
that part's a little nitpicky, but he explains it. He actually says it why he becomes a reporter.
Yeah, because he needs to be close to dangerous situations. Sure. But how the fuck did he forge that? This is nitpicky, but
that's nitpicky.
Yeah, I can admit that's nitpicky, but it's just these big, but these small little things, they add up. It's not like a plot hole. I mean, like, did you watch that video on plot holes? That was really good.
When did it come out?
Patrick H. Willems. It was fire. It was great.
I might have.
Yeah, but I'm not just nitpicking like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I'm saying that I would rather know if that Clark Kent went to college. I want to know what he did with his entire life. I know he's been looking for looking for answers his entire life.
Right.
But I don't know why he's looking for these answers. I don't know why he cares so much, because
inherently humans, and I guess he's not human, but he was still raised by humans, naturally is built into them
to be curious about who they are. Yeah.
To be wonder. It's in chimpanzees. Like, you don't need to explain why someone is curious. It's inherent.
But my interpretation of the way, and this is based on me, so I'm saying this is a bias right now.
Yeah.
Okay. My interpretation of a Superman character or any kind of superhero, a great example, I'm using other superhero movies, other origin movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 1, Norman Osborn, and this isn't exposition-y, is like, oh, your parents must be proud, right? And Peter's like, I live with my aunt and uncle, and they are proud. And that one line of dialogue tells you a lot about Peter Parker as the character. You learn that he's okay with living with his aunt and his uncle, and he's come to terms with whatever the fuck happened to his parents, and it's never mentioned again, okay?
Okay.
Great job of establishing character with 2 lines of dialogue. Why is Clark not content with his dad and mom?
He has a natural curiosity, like I just mentioned, on finding who he is.
But yeah, of course that makes sense, and I'm not arguing that. Like, any version of Clark Kent, if you're doing a movie, would go out and try to find out who he is and like where his place is in the world, right?
Right.
But why is our Clark Kent in Man of Steel? why is he like, how does he feel about his real mom and dad? Like, not Lara, and Jor-El. I'm talking about Jonathan and Martha. Why are they not enough for him? Like, explain that to the audience.
They still are. Even after he finds his dad, the Windows 10 dad,
The ghost
he still
dad
comes back to his mom. He still goes.
He goes back to his mom. Yeah,
but I bring a BBS, but he goes home and he's like, "Fuck, mom, I'm lost. I don't know what the fuck to do."
Yeah, but why? But I never ever get a sense that that's really his mother. That's like, I just see two actors playing.
What?
I see two actors playing mother and son. I never believe in the fact that they have any relationship outside of the scene and what that purpose of the scene is, because I think the movie does a horrible job on a writing level, on a filmmaking level, on every goddamn level of doing anything human. And I think that's the biggest issue with Zack Snyder as a filmmaker, is he can shoot these beautiful looking, these amazing looking action scenes, these beautiful looking shots, these vista shots, beautiful. Like, put that in any other movie and I'll just like fucking cum my pants, okay? For being a little grotesque, right?
Go ahead.
And but there's nothing tangible about it. There's nothing, like, me as a human being, I can look at that movie and be like, oh, this Clark Kent is a human being. This Clark Kent feels human.
He feels way more human to me than what I've seen in other Superman movies.
But we're not. But to me, it's just in general, Superman doesn't work in this movie at all. I'm not even comparing him to the Reeve movies.
But you said he doesn't feel human, but like, being human is feeling lost. Like, what is our purpose here?
Yeah,
that is like his whole motivation for the entire film is, what is my fucking purpose?
On paper, that's his motivation. But I'm saying through the direction.
Through the direction, through the lack of scenes that give you an insight into what he likes to do, who he cares about, what are his hobbies, anything. You don't need to say that. Show it if they want to. Show, don't tell. Have him fucking play baseball with Pete Ross in a field when he's a kid. Have him fucking have another kid. Would definitely help, but that doesn't necessarily take down the whole film. I don't know who this is because does he collect baseball cards? No, you don't need to see that. His actions give you everything that you need to know.
But what actions does he take in this movie? He finds his dad, then Zod shows up and forces him into conflict. He's a completely passive protagonist. He does nothing the entire movie.
What do you mean he doesn't nothing? Just because he forces him into conflict isn't a bad thing.
But he doesn't even. But he's told what he is by everyone. He never decides for himself what he is. We never hear,
because he still does not know, and that is okay.
But if a character is having a beginning, a middle, and an end,
not to know who they are, you will never know who you are. We're on an endless journey on finding out who we are.
But he never comes to any kind of closure or any kind of agreement, like any kind of like. I don't even know what the word for it. Like, maybe, okay, we'll go with closure for now, but he never finds his sense of humanity that he looks for. But the movie acts like he does when she's like, "Welcome to the planet." That's supposed to be the signifying line that he is now human. Right. Like, "Welcome to Earth. You are human. You are this. You chose humanity."
Right.
Right. Perfectly. And that's all on paper. But through the genius Zachary Edward Snyder, through just like his lack of understanding, I don't even know what it is, but it's just in all his movies, these people are cold. They're like soulless on paper. Okay, you could read the Goyer script, and I understand the themes you were empathizing with, the feeling outcasted, because I can empathize with those themes too.
Yeah.
But the movie does a horrible job of exploring those themes because we never see him come to any kind of closure. The movie doesn't earn the welcome to the planet line. The movie doesn't earn the Zod death. The movie doesn't earn him choosing humanity because there's no human ties that he has other than Lois Lane. And you yourself said that Lois Lane's completely underdeveloped. He does
have human ties.
Lois Lane.
His parents. Also,
his dad's dead in a tornado.
That changed, right? So that's kind of like what you need to know. This world has been shitting on him. He had that bully call him Dick Splash. We'll call him Dick Splash for now. So Dick Splash was bullying him and later ends up helping him up. Small gesture. But that's a small little ounce of hope that he sees.
But how does Clark feel about that?
Through his actions.
But I mean, how does Clark feel about that?
That obviously gives him hope. And
does it give him hope?
Yeah, that's why he still goes. He could just be like, what's his name in fucking Watchmen and just dip out.
Yeah, Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah,
Superman is like Dr. Manhattan.
But he doesn't. But he doesn't. He still is there and he's still trying. And that is what makes it okay, is that he's trying to find himself. He's trying to make himself and also the world, some ways, a better place. When we first get introduced to him, when he's on that crab boat, he goes and he saves people. People always say, "Oh, he doesn't save people." He saves a shit ton of people in this movie. Just
Okay,
because there's other people that
agree.
get killed because of
I can
the
agree that
destruction around him.
I can agree that in my Man of Steel video, my Man of Steel v Winter Soldier video, I didn't mention the fishing stuff where he saves people on the bus, okay?
Yeah.
Because I think all of that is undone by the fact that at the end of the movie, when push comes to shove, when he's wearing the cape, when he is the icon Superman, he doesn't
He's still
save a
not the
single
icon.
fucking
He's
person.
wearing the suit, but he's still not the icon. And
Well, then
that's
I
okay.
think that's just that's a personal preference, but I think that's a fucking horrible way to take a character, is to not have him be the icon by the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
I
a
think that it's like, okay, now we're beginning. We watch him become like, okay, now I'm stepping into the Superman role. That's completely okay. If it was a book, fucking fantastic, right?
If it was book 1 and book 2, but this is a movie though.
No, I know.
And movies need to have completed arcs, I think. And I don't think he ever completes his arc, because I don't think he ever finds his sense of purpose. I don't think he ever really discovers his humanity, because we never see that. We never ever see him be a human.
I see him being a human the whole fucking movie.
I don't think so though, because
and he like I said before,
but being human is about more than just making mistakes. Like that's like a superficial. I think that's like, the way it writes it is, okay, well, Superman's perfect, and how do we make him not perfect? We make him make mistakes. Fine. But that's not what being a human is about. Being human is about feeling emotions, loving, caring, like especially Superman. Like just being this embodiment of hope that the movie talks about so much.
and he did have the hope.
But where does he ever give people hope ever in that movie?
He's becoming the icon. Becoming the icon is part of the process of being this light, this fucking beacon of light.
If the end of Man of Steel, okay,
Yeah,
was the end of Act 2, if the end of the movie was the end of Act 2 and there was a third act of him being Superman, I am fine with that take. I'm not saying the movie's good, but if it was reworked, okay, so that his arc is completed at the end of the second act, and the third act is him coming to be this icon, fine. But it is inherently a bad studio decision, a bad Zack Snyder decision, a bad fucking David Goyer decision to have him not ever become Superman.
I completely disagree. I think taking your time to get where you want to go is okay.
I think if it was the Netflix show, but it's a movie. It's one movie that's not meant to have a sequel, theoretically, because like you should make a movie for one movie. Like
I disagree with that.
Look at the MCU. I think every character, like I don't even like a lot of MCU movies. I think they're bland. They're like they're not like, I love some of them, and I think some of them are bland, and like 2 of them are bad, right? But they're mostly like a popular franchise. But none of them like offend me. Does that make sense? And do you know why none of them offend me? Because there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. In every movie, a character goes through an arc.
Yeah.
Where they learn, they stumble, they fall, the fucking stupid Jor-El speech. They stumble, they fall, but in time they join the fucking people in the sun, okay? The characters learn a lesson and they become their character by the end of the movie. I made a video about Spider-Man Homecoming where I talked about how it's not a good rendition of Spider-Man, okay?
Right.
And I still stand by that, but he does have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I may not like that beginning and middle end, but there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Iron Man 1, Tony Stark. He's a douchebag. He goes in the cave. He stumbles. He's a dick. He becomes Iron Man. He fucks up, and then he makes the ultimate self-sacrifice and lets Pepper Potts fucking blow him up at that little machine, if you remember that movie.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then he's Iron Man. And then he's become Iron Man. It literally ends with I am Iron Man. Perfect origin story. Debatably one of the best superhero movies ever made.
I do love that movie, yeah.
Spider-Man 1, okay?
Yep.
The boy Sam Raimi. For all you HiTopians who are, I don't even know.
I think it's, I think
whoever's on here that watches my stuff and they're here. The boy Sam Raimi.
The people that are my audience are like from your audience, so I'm pretty sure they're all you.
They watch some of my Spider-Man shit. Spider-Man 1. beginning, middle, and end. Okay, at the end of the movie, what is the last line of that movie?
Of which one?
Spider-Man 1, the first one. This is my gift. This is my curse. This is my curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Cheesy.
It doesn't fucking matter if it's cheesy. It's a comic book movie.
No, but comic book movies do not have to be cheesy.
No, but they need to understand that, like, okay, completely. Let's read some comments because I really need to take a piss.
All right, go ahead, take a piss.
All right, cool.
Oh my gosh. I don't think the
Find some good ones.
scene. You want me to wait for you, or I'll just engage with chat?
Engage with Chad. Don't wait for me. Don't worry about me. I'll be back.
I agree with Alex. I think you guys don't. Okay. Religious symbolism, while something like Daredevil shows us it's. Why does Superman cry without any prior motivation of not killing or any basic ideology? I think I already talked on that, is that you don't need someone to tell you not to kill. It's already built in you. It's already there. If you were basically raised by wolves, you still wouldn't kill your own kind. Superman is a god. Daredevil is human. The only religious symbolism of it is that Matt calls himself a devil just because he fights the crime, even when he is being a Catholic. I'm not sure I understand the main point of that. Superman is a god who attempts to have human morals but isn't affected by his actions. What? Every small thing that Matt does affects his inner thoughts and beliefs. How do you not see that in Man of Steel? He makes mistakes and he has a reaction to it all the time. In the show, Matt loses his law firm, his friends, and the only thing he can turn to justice. Matt lost everything and we understand him. That's also like through what, like 10 hours of development? Joey liked Man of Steel? Yes, I do. Zack Snorri is a visual director. He's not an actual storyteller, Penguin. Alex, Sam Mendes, Skyfall Inspector, Martin Campbell, GoldenEye, Casino Royale, and even our storyteller.
Did you read some good ones?
Yeah, there's some good ones. Superman lost something he didn't understand himself and was sad because he was bullied. He lost Krypton, but he was too young to feel that impact. No, that's not necessarily true. You could still have your entire race be wiped out before you even realize what that means and still grow up and be like, oh shit.
Here, Super Koopa 999 said this, and this is the one that I empathize with the most. Ready?
Where is it at? Hold on. All right, go ahead and just read it.
Superman is a boring, directionless character with the actor of an acting range of a crumpet. He is a horrible protagonist, and his morals are unknown. Also, he goes through almost nothing except his dad dying. I can see that perspective. I can agree with that perspective. I don't necessarily blame Henry Cavill for that character though.
I just don't understand that at all. The best comic book movie is Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is really good. Did you guys like Infinity War? Yes, but I thought it was I thought the ending was a cheap shock now, because you know what's going to happen. Anyone know how long you got to reheat a curry? Alex, you know how to reheat a curry?
I don't even know how to cook, man.
Okay. Well, microwavable stuff, but any other ones that you like?
In the show, Matt literally loses his law firm, his friends, and the only thing he can turn to is the devil's side to give him some reason to keep going. Matt, someone's talking about Daredevil.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. He says that the DCU messes up with religious symbolism, while something like Daredevil, the Daredevil show uses it to propel its characters. It kind of feels lackluster, more like a cameo than a pushing force in Man of Steel, and I completely agree.
I have one from Super Koopa again. Alex has a point, though. If you've ever seen How I Met Your Mother, even if your life is garbage, there are still some sort of high points in your life, unlike in Man of Steel. I have seen How I Met Your Mother. I watch that show religiously. I've seen it
I
over
have
and
not.
over. I've seen it over and over, like the 9 seasons.
Mhm.
Like I if you play it, I could probably quote, episodes, but that also has like you have 9 seasons, and also their characters are not alien. They always have their friends. They always have their family. Their family's not really shown, but they always have their group of friends. They have some falling outs, and that's totally natural, but that has nothing to do with Man of Steel. It's apples and oranges there.
Someone says, Alex, I believe there are better storytellers than Zack Snyder out there. Yes, there are millions and
There are.
millions
I'll
of
agree
better.
to that. Fuck yeah. There definitely are. I'm not saying he is the one and only. No, I'm saying that he gets too much shit. For way too much shit.
Someone said, you guys didn't understand. Zack Snyder's plan was to make Papa Kent become Red Tornado. He is a genius. Sarcasm. That's funny.
Compare Superman to some Marvel some Marvel Phase 1 movies, please.
I did that. Iron Man and Man of Steel.
I
But
also don't think you have to compare it to Marvel. I think that there's some reasons why you should. Like you brought up some great points on like how to do a superhero movie. But I think that only having these barriers of it has to be a superhero movie it's gonna hold the whole franchise back. And until someone takes it and just says, fuck it, I'm just gonna, not just stick to these superhero movie tropes, then I think we'll get some truly revolutionary superhero movies. Watchmen is better than Man of Steel in my eyes. I can agree to that. I
Me
fucking love
too.
that movie. I think Incredible Hulk and Man of Steel are almost the same. I don't really relate to.
I may like Incredible Hulk more, honestly.
Wow.
I don't like that movie that much either. It's just
Oh my gosh. All right. Any other comments you want to read?
let's ask them. Okay, can we turn it to them? Is that cool? This is your show.
Yeah, no, go for it, dude.
All right, guys, ask us something about Man of Steel. What's another debate topic? I don't think. How long have we been going this for? It's been like an hour. We've been going at it.
It's about an hour.
Okay, cool. So
I have some other points that I want to get to.
Okay, let's do some questions. Then you can do finishing.
After. Yeah. All right, guys, hit us with the questions. 9 people. Get some questions going. Provoke some more heated debate. This shit's fun. I want to do this with like more often, and also with like other movie YouTubers. But
you want to get me out of here? You want to kick me off your show? I see. All
no, I said I want to do this again. We could debate
okay.
a Marvel film next or whatever. But
yeah, we can do this again. We can do this again for sure.
This shit's fun. No, but I want to do it with other movie YouTubers, because there's also like Nando movies. And all right, we got our first question. Alex, Man of Steel versus Superman Returns.
Easy money, Superman Returns. And I don't even think it's great, but easy money, Superman Returns.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say it, but it was directed towards you. Do you like the spaceship being the Fortress of Solitude than the actual Crystal Castle? Go ahead, Alex.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind the fact they changed the fortress. I mean, like I when it comes to comic book movies, okay, you can make Peter Parker have organic webs, and you can change the Fortress of Solitude. I don't get mad. I get mad if you like change the fundamental beliefs or what I view the fundamental beliefs of the character. And you can call that petty or like fanboyish, and maybe it is, but the little stuff like the fortress changing doesn't bother me.
No, I think like you're completely justified in that. I think the attitude in which you act on it can be not just you, but maybe people in general, which a lot of people in general are toxic, and it's very close-minded.
Hey man, I always poke at Zack Snyder in good fun.
No, I know. I mean, I obviously do it in the video that we made, but
I would never ever personally attack the man. Like he is making these movies, and he's doing what he wants to do, and he has a vision, and good for him for completing it.
That's
but
what
I think every fan has the right to be like, oh, you made Superman kill someone, like fuck you, dude. But they don't have any right to personally attack the man.
Right.
Even
Well, I
like
talked
his
I
movie.
talked to someone in the comments on the actual video, like paragraphs.
Yeah.
And like Zack Snyder did do that for my favorite character. You know, he did make Batman kill someone.
Yeah, he made
He made him
Batman straight
fucking
up.
murder a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, what the fuck? You
Yeah,
know?
that was, but see,
But
you're not
that
like a
didn't
big Superman guy, but that like,
right.
oh, what the fuck was like me, but it's weird though, because when I was 12, right? And I think I was 12. I must have been like 12 when I
Yeah.
first saw Man of Steel. Okay. I was like, wow, this looks pretty. It's cool. But then like, as I get older, I'm reading more and more Superman stuff. And now I'm 19 and just, it's like a dagger every time I watch that movie in the heart every damn time.
Interesting. But yeah, what I was saying about like him having, and his explanation was shitty for it too. You know, like he
Uh,
says, "Oh, I have them." Like, oh, he just
by
blows up the town
proxy.
that they're in. Yeah, like no, that's not how that works.
Did you see the video that was like it was Man of Steel v it would no, it was fuck, what was it? It was Zack Snyder v Batman v Superman. It's like one of the
No.
funniest. Watch it, man. It's hilarious.
Oh,
I recommend it.
and it quotes that video, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's just
I
like
think I
this
have.
funny edit of Batman just like murdering people for 5 minutes.
Yeah, like he did take a part of like my favorite character ever and fuck him up. But that
And
wasn't enough for me to just be like, fuck this. This is completely shit.
that
The movie is flawed, definitely. Hugely flawed, but I still love it. But that wasn't enough for me to just say, oh, fuck this, fuck Zack Snyder. I was just kind of like, what the fuck, but whatever.
I was
Do
my
you?
reaction is like, why would you hire someone who's gonna do that?
Well, I don't know if they knew. Well, I mean, I guess they have to know.
They have to know that his pitch would be Batman's gonna be a depressed murderer.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's just I even agree with you, man, that like I think that Man of Steel had potential if they did a Superman 2. Okay, if they did a Superman 2 and like maybe they realized there were a lot of missteps in Man of Steel 1,
Hmm.
I would look back fondly upon Man of Steel if the
Right,
sequel had made him into the Superman that I personally like and had realized its mistakes.
right.
But the sequel only doubled down on everything wrong with Man of Steel.
It was also studio interference and them trying to
Yeah,
crack
I'm
open the
not
new
just
world,
blaming
but
Zach
that's
for that. I'm just saying that
yeah.
like fixing the Metropolis destruction was not like the thing they should have solely focused on fixing. I think just like
No,
maybe,
absolutely,
maybe make
absolutely.
your character more likable to, you know, your audience.
And I think that's what they were eventually going for.
But it
Was
never happened.
well, it was likable for me because I don't need, you know, like we said many. We keep going back and forth on this. I don't need someone to say, "Oh, I love humanity." No, I want to feel. I want to feel what you are feeling, and I feel what he was feeling. I
And then
feel the outcast. I
and I
feel this
respect that. And I respect
inherent drive. You know, I don't. Yeah,
and that's a subjective opinion in my and
absolutely.
I'm being subjective when I say that I feel that I couldn't believe anything that was going on in Clark Kent's head in that movie.
Right, and a bunch of people agree with you. But I
Yeah.
think people just take that and then they just say, "Fucking terrible movie, burn Snack
Yeah.
Snyder to the ground," and you know, like it's ridiculous. But yeah, let's get some comments going. Do you okay? Both of you seem sincere and
What is the
learned
best super okay,
about
go
your
ahead.
opinions. They thanks. It is fun. Oh no, go ahead. I was just reading that one.
What is the best Superman story to actually learn the character? Superman for all seasons and All-Star Superman, I think, to really grasp what Superman's mostly about in the comic books.
Yeah, I haven't read them, so you know I can't. I'm coming from a different perspective than you are, you know, and I
Out.
understand your perspective because you grew up and you read these comics, but I never really did. I
Mm-hmm.
never really had that like interest on like, okay, what makes me want to read about this guy? Like, what made me want to read about Batman is like he's got a fucking power complex.
Yeah.
He wants to do this shit, and he disguises it as, oh, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. He's
You
a fucked
know,
up guy.
and
Yeah.
I fucking love that. I think that
Yeah.
is the most important story to me, like that humanity can have is that like you could still do something like
Good.
good that is illegal, but it still could be for fucked up reasons. Like he's an extremely morally gray character, and that's what made me relate to him, and that's what kind of made me relate to uh, this Man of Steel is like, he fucks up a lot. If you had to watch Thor 2 or Man of Steel 5 times in a row, what would you do, Alex?
Thor 2, even though
Oh my
I think Thor 2 is actually, I'm gonna say this. You can have this one. Thor 2 is a worse movie than Man of Steel. You can have that one. Thor 2 is a worse movie, but it offends me less than Man of Steel.
It offends me. I fucking love that. Oh, it offends me.
It really does offend me.
You gotta move on with it. You gotta.
I can't move on, dude. It's like literally making him murder, like making Batman a murderer and Superman a depressed murderer too, is like taking, like, if I was a religious nut and taking my Bible and burning it in front of me. That's what it felt like. And then stabbing me in the chest repeatedly, but not just once, because I was rooting for him. I was like, you know what? Zach can make the comeback in BVS. Then I sat down in the theater for BVS, and then I got fucking blown back, punched in the face. Dude, I saw BVS a week before everyone else because I went to that trailer screening. They were screening the trailer in IMAX, and I went, and they gave out free tickets to see the movie a week in advance. I was hyped. I wanted to love it. And it looked good. The trailers, I was like, oh, it looks like Doomsday, whatever. But like Batman looks like Batman. Ben looks good. You know, maybe they'll do some cool stuff with Superman. And then I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Damn. You're lucky. I wanted to see that movie early. But
dude, I'm not lucky because I saw it early, and I was like one of the first people just to realize how bad that it was going to be received. Like, me and my dad saw it early, and like at first we were like, you know, that was like whatever, I guess, but like, why the hell did Batman kill people? And then the Doomsday stuff happened, just shoehorned in, and the flash drive stuff. And this was before critic reviews came out or anything. So we were there like, oh no, like we were at the calm before the storm. And and our audience didn't vibe with it at all. Like, no one clapped ever except for the Wonder Woman scene. The Wonder Woman scene, people clapped. No one laughed at any of the jokes. Everyone was just like, what the hell, when Batman was murdering people?
At my screening, I had like girls and freaking grown men like gasp when Superman, spoilers, but Superman dies.
Oh, no. No one gave a flying fuck in my audience. I didn't even give a fuck because that Superman wasn't like a Superman I could empathize with.
I had people like crying in the theater.
Really?
Not like, but like after you see their eyes, you know what I mean? And I felt like emotionally hit too. But
that's because you like Man of Steel, though. That's why it worked, though.
Absolutely.
Like, I didn't like Man of Steel, so when Superman died, I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was okay, so this is also another point that I want to get to. Comic books are a visual medium, and what I think that no one has done, that Zack Snyder has done perfectly, is bring these visuals to the screen.
Oh, no, man.
Nobody, no comic book movie, no fucking Marvel movie has done any visual, like, fucking just beauty.
Dude, you're fucking stabbing me.
Good, I hope it does. But no one has done any of these action sequences and these fucking beautiful long takes of, when Superman's saving that woman in the burning building in Batman vs Superman. It's like a long take, and he goes and they're like,
Larry Fong. Yeah, Zack Snyder's a good visual. He's a good visual person. Yeah.
And that's what he brings to comic book movies, is he's actually paying homage to the comic books and bring, the Dark Knight Returns when he goes and the lightning goes,
But I have a counter to that already.
Okay, go ahead.
Visual homage. But there's this very specific thing in the Dark Knight Returns where like Batman takes a gun, breaks it over his leg, and says, "These are the weapons of cowards." And you can adapt all the frames you want to adapt. You can do all that. But if you don't adapt what's like on the page,
right?
Like, you don't have to do it beat for beat.
Yeah, we've already touched on that. I'm focusing like on the visuals, and I'm saying that nobody. And I've seen like people that always shit on him. Nobody ever gives him credit for these fucking godlike visuals for actually bringing comic book movies to the screen. Unlike the fact that
here you go. I'm a hater. I'm a hater, and I'm gonna say it exclusive on your live stream. Everyone. Zack Snyder maybe isn't the best at doing that, in my opinion, because I think Sam Raimi and Matthew Vaughn are a little bit better. Kingsman, Kick-Ass, and Spider-Man 2 are a little bit better at doing the panel-to-screen stuff. But Zack Snyder is a good visual stylist. And people shit on him and don't really notice the fact that he does put the work into his visuals and his montages. But like that Nerd Writer video, it's everything else that's the problem. If he was a cinematographer, fuck yeah.
Yep. No, I want to make a video essay just on how he should be a cinematographer.
Yeah,
not in like like, hey, stop being a director, but like his assets are best in the visual way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
we can agree on that. Yeah, Man of Steel looks great.
I think that is a huge part. It's not the most important part, absolutely not. But I think that is a huge part for comic book movies, is bring these fucking panels to the screen, make these action scenes like nothing else. Nothing in Marvel, nothing in other DC movies that are not Zack Snyder, except Justice League is also not Zack Snyder. Like, nothing matches up with these incredible fight scenes and visuals, and nothing even comes close to it.
I don't know, man. I think anything, I'm even talking the third one. I think Sam Raimi is the king of moving the camera like a comic book. Like the way it transitions, the way it's framed, everything's lit like a comic book.
I have to rewatch that.
You really do. Like, watch Spider-Man 2 and 3, dude, and like, yeah, there's stuff wrong with them, but like, dude,
but you're also acting, I think you're also acting on your bias towards, your
not liking Zach.
Like, huh?
Yeah.
Not liking Zach, but also your fetish towards these Superman trilogies. The
Spider-Man trilogies,
the Raimi trilogy.
Yeah, because the Raimi trilogy is like I watched it recently with my buddy John. You know John, you've met John. Yeah. Plays the Riddler, directed Robin, genius guy.
Yep.
And we finished watching Spider-Man 2 again on my birthday, because that's like a tradition I do. And cool. I know, and he was like, man, that may be one of the most best directed films I've ever seen, period. On every level, just like visually, aesthetically, acting, the whole fucking the whole 9 yards. And that man hates everything he watches too. He is a snob, more of a snob than me.
Wow, that's a thing. But no, like, so I think that I'm gonna bring it back. I think that you're acting on your bias towards the Raimi trilogy, right?
What about Kick-Ass, man? Have you seen Kick-Ass?
I have. I've seen both of them. I even love 2.
But Kick-Ass 1 is a comic book.
No, it is, but it's not. Like, do the action scenes seem like fantastic action scenes? Not until Kick-Ass 2. Well, Kick-Ass 2, they get a little bit more with the visuals and the action scenes.
I think
it does, but it doesn't do it better than Zack Snyder does.
But I mean, maybe not visually. I can agree on that. Maybe not visually better, but Matthew Vaughn also is a phenomenal actor's director, like an actor's director.
Right.
Like,
well, hold on. You got to let me hold that point. You got to let me finish. So I was bringing up your bias towards the Sam Raimi stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to say I have a bias towards Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan is a god to me, right?
Yeah.
He's the reason why I got into filmmaking, just because everything he makes, I'm just like,
yeah, me too.
His movies, his Dark Knight trilogy, extremely, for the most part, visually lazy and visually uninspired.
I think the action scenes, but I think,
and also like just
nominated for best cinematography at the Oscars, man.
Yeah, but it also wasn't nominated for best film, so we can't really bring up the Oscars.
Well, The Dark Knight was nominated for best film, I think.
No, I don't. It hasn't been nominated.
The Dark Knight?
Yeah, it was not nominated
for best picture.
Yes. I
really don't know that. I don't know. I'm saying, like, you can Google, can we get a fact checker?
Yeah, go ahead, people, check it out.
Yeah.
I'm like 90% sure that it was not. Like, they do not see the
worst thing about the Nolan trilogy by far is the action scenes are like pretty like the actual hand-to-hand Batman stuff is bland as hell.
It's the greatest trilogy, but it doesn't look like a comic book movie.
Yeah, no, it's well, to its credit, it's not trying to look like a comic book movie either. But I mean, I'm not defending the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I was making a comment on the bias towards our favorite trilogy. Yeah. And still the Nolan trilogy, other than a couple of shots like the end of The Dark Knight where the camera's slowly turning with the Joker as he's like manipulating, not Batman, but kind of like
always winning the scene.
Yeah. Like it's slowly going to his perspective. It's brilliant. Other than that, very visually lazy, and no one has ever done, and no one gives credit to the fact that Zach is a god fucking visual director.
Yeah, I
But
just wish he was a
no, go
good
ahead.
director in other aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. He came from the music video world, you know, so that was
I mean,
all
so
about the
did
visuals. So did Fincher. Yeah.
yeah, and Mark Webb, who did besides the Spider-Man movies, 500 Days of Summer, which is probably like the most human movie to come out in a long time. And he comes from music videos.
Yeah,
I'm
but I
reading these
mean,
comments.
yeah, let's read some of them. Matthew Vaughn is best comic book director, period. He shoots still panels, not scenes. That's a great skill, but is not storytelling.
I can see that.
Wait, oh, we mentioned, we already kind of deciphered the two. You know, the storytelling is flawed. I'll agree, but the visuals, masterpieces. Just got here. What did I miss? We're kind of wrapping it up.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up.
So much, man. I came in for a bit earlier while they were talking about Man of Steel.
We talked about Man of Steel for 5 hours.
But I guess it's a Batman stream now. No, we're just like referencing other things.
Other things, yeah.
Yeah, it's always going to be about Snyder, and I'm always going to defend that man.
And I'm always gonna poke fun at that man.
No, and poking fun is fair. I think that
I always delete every comment that's like he should like burn in hell. I always spam those because he's just a dude. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
my
like just fucking relax. Like you need a life if you sit here. And I know you might take offense to this, but when you say, "Oh, that offended me," like move the fuck on with your life already.
Well, it's
That's
just
how
a
I
comic
feel.
book. Yeah, but I mean, no, I can see both perspectives, and I think there's a way to be offended by what a filmmaker does and not like vocally abuse them.
Yeah.
Which I always like. I think the worst thing I ever said was like, I don't even know if I ever even said anything that bad. I just said I don't think I said that I used this quote from Zach in my Man of Steel video, V Winter Soldier, and he's like, what'd he say? He was like, if you know the true canon, I didn't change Superman.
Yeah.
And that was a douchebaggy thing to say, and I just roasted that, but I never come at his character.
I thought, like, okay, so someone mentioned that, and someone said, "Oh, he's pretentious and he's all up in his shit," and I was like, "No, I think he was speaking his mind and his perspective. He interpreted the art different than you interpreted it, and that's completely fair. You'll make fantastic arguments on how it's not the character of Superman, but if he interprets it, then that's how he interpreted it. You know what I mean? It's art. There's no actual."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I feel like
the jumbo.
There can be off interpretations of the character.
Correct.
I think for sure.
I agree. And even if he sees it off, if he sticks true to that vision, still respectable, in my opinion.
Also, I feel like most people who trash Snyder don't know about like the fact that he's a big like he's doing the Fountainhead, which people look that stuff up. It's a like Ayn Rand book, and just his philosophy and like where he comes from. Like his first comic book was Watchmen. And like he is also dyslexic, so he like moved towards comic books. You know, he would look at the pictures in comic books, and like there's this whole background. There's just great stuff you can read about it.
That's
That
fantastic.
explains maybe why his Superman isn't traditional Superman, because he's the first comic he ever read was Watchmen, which is a deconstruction of the superhero genre.
Right.
But I feel like if he's doing these big characters, he should have been able to realize that Watchmen is not every single fucking character. Doesn't need to have the tone of Watchmen.
No, absolutely. But I think that he wanted to have a story where he applied that to the perfect God of Superman. And I think that's totally okay.
Yeah, and I think it's okay too. But I just think the movie's trash.
Yeah.
And you can like the movie, and I don't think you're trash. Don't worry.
No, yeah, I know. We disagree. Like how I said I'm not a big fan of Coen Brothers, and you were like, oh.
Yeah,
it's okay.
That's fine.
So yeah, the main thing of this debate, guys, is like it's fun to argue about this shit. It's meaningless, you know.
It's so stupid. We're arguing about a director who's become a meme, and a comic book character that wears red underwear.
Yeah.
This
is all fun and games, but I kind of want to leave it off. Well, let's read some comments, and then I kind of want to give like a little closing thing.
Did you write a speech?
No.
Okay, I thought you had a speech prepared.
I got a whole speech here, guys. No. All right, let's see. Objectivism, but not. But Rorschach is a goof. on objectivism. The biggest problem with these DC movies is the Flash's weird run. I agree.
Yeah,
I fucking agree. He's like,
I agree too. He's ice skating. It's very, very weird.
yeah, he looks like Frozen, dude. It's weird. Have you guys seen the way he swings his arms? Forget Snyder. This is the real problem. You said it, man. Make a whole video on that.
Do it.
Zach is God. Should they just reset the DCEU? Yes. I believe that they should.
Yeah, definitely. I think unless Aquaman's they already are though. Like Aquaman and Shazam are going to be so tonally different from everything else that, and I am of full confidence that Henry Cavill is never going to play Superman again.
What about, you don't think they're gonna make another Justice League?
No way.
Oh.
I think they'll get like, well, first off, I think they're gonna bag my boy, my number one guy, my A1 since day one, James Gunn, to do any DC movie, and whatever movie he does is going to make $1 billion, and then that will be the new flagship DC franchise.
Yeah, I think he's a great director. A bit overrated, but yeah.
Let's not talk about James Gunn. I'll die. Don't break my heart anymore.
Quicksilver is the best speedster of live action.
Which Quicksilver?
Yeah, in X-Men. In X-Men, I believe he's saying. Not in the Avengers 2.
Not in Avengers 2.
Well, go ahead. You were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, what other debates do they want to see?
Oh yeah, guys, do you guys want to see this as a continuing live stream?
I'm a busy guy, so I can't do it that often, but you can have other people on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what topics, what other people,
Get that HiTop hack out of here and back on his own channel. We got to find something that we disagree on to talk about again.
Yeah, we really do.
Find a movie that I love that you hate, and we'll switch it up.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that would work. That would work really well. Discord. What? The way he didn't prepare himself to run. Are movies getting less quality nowadays than before? No, our expectations are raising, and that's okay. That's my opinion.
Movies are technically, I think, better sometimes than they've been before.
Absolutely. You look at movies like back in the day that are like these fucking jewels that people praise, and they kind of don't hold up. A lot of the movies in the 60s, 50s, and 70s have huge pacing issues where this third act goes on for like an extra 30 minutes.
Well, it's so weird because like back then it's not a pacing issue, now to like our brains,
Right.
which are triggered, pace things differently.
Right. We have more goldfish minds.
Like Citizen Kane is a beautiful looking fucking movie, but it's also like extremely boring in the middle portion, but it's beautiful and it invented camera techniques.
Yeah.
So you can still respect it, but you don't have to like it, I feel like.
Right. Yeah. So when people say that 2001 is a boring movie, I understand, but it's like the importance that is, I think, the most important film ever made.
2001?
Yeah.
I just saw that in IMAX recently. That was a good time.
I gotta watch it. Admit, Alex, you paid Joey to appear in his live stream? You mean, did I pay Alex to appear in the live stream?
I wish. I wish I was being paid.
Man of Steel is a good movie. It has many fundamental plot flaws, but from emotional standpoint, this movie was good. I agree. Love both of your channels, guys.
Thank you, Joshua Reynolds.
Yeah, thank you.
Shit.
So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Do you want to go ahead and wrap up your side and then I'll wrap up mine?
My final opinion is that you make valid points and I respect your opinion. But to me, I will never be able to like a movie or empathize with a movie that treats a beloved character the way it decides to portray the character. It treats the mythos and mythology like it's nothing. And that's an okay thing because that's subjective. B, I think there's a horrible romance in that movie. C, I think that the biggest problem with the entire DCU is they built an entire universe off Man of Steel, which has a protagonist that hasn't completed his arc and that hasn't grown into the Superman that we know and love. And that was maybe originally supposed to, but they built an entire franchise, an entire universe off of an underdeveloped protagonist. And that's the issue with every DC movie, and it all stems from not being able to get an audience to like empathize with and like, most importantly, like and want to see more of Superman.
Well respected, well said. Yeah, you make some. I can't argue with some of your points. You know,
Yeah.
you make some fantastic points, and it is hugely flawed. It's a hugely flawed movie. I think it is a underrated movie or overly hated movie. That I think that's a common theme with Zack Snyder. Is shit on him just because, you know. But I think that no one is doing what Zack Snyder has done, and I don't think people will match up to it for the next decade or so, visually, and making these comic books like comic panels come to life. Sure, you'll have your movies like Kick-Ass and Scott Pilgrim that are very, you know, visually fucking crazy, but no one is making this like beautiful content that is this beautiful visual content that Zack Snyder is doing. Hugely flawed, and that is okay with me. Our Superman is lost, and that is okay with me. He makes mistakes, and he doesn't have a bunch of exposition, and that is okay with me. What I would have done for a follow-up isn't a Batman vs Superman done justice. It would have been advancing on the character, like anyone would do. But that's studio interference, and I don't, you know, we'll get into that in another topic. But overall, we're on the different side of the same coin. This crazy, over-obsessed fanboy bullshit, and that's okay. But I'm kind of going to end it on like no, what were you saying?
A bittersweet note. We're still pals.
Yeah, we're still pals.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and end it on kind of like a Dark Knight quote-ish. But Man of Steel is the movie we deserved, but not the movie that we needed. Okay? And I believe that is very true. So thanks everyone for this is so fucking fun, dude.
Yeah, did you is it gone?
What gone?
No, we're still live?
We're still live. We're still
live.
Oh
shit. All right.
Yeah. I was wrapping it up like saying, hey, thanks for the chat. Everyone, your guys' comments are incredible.
Thanks for having me.
No, it was great, man. We gotta do it again. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end there. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye. Gonna go play Spider-Man PS4. See you later.
I'm jealous. Bye.